Hey guys, my name is Mitsumiao, and now that we've had a chance to play a bit of the new season of Rainbow Six Siege Steel Wave, I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to make another episode of Did You Know? There's a lot of cool new Easter eggs on the rework version of House, and there's also some interesting mechanics that may not be all that obvious. And so to start things off, did you know that Mira is going to be a bit of a counter to Ace? When Ace is trying to use his Selma gadget on a reinforced wall, you can simply use the Mira to take it out yourself. Now, it does require a bit of timing, a little bit of finesse, but as long as you placed it somewhat properly, as you go through the animation and once it's completed, it's gonna take out the Selma gadget on the other side. And if you've done it well enough, it is going to give you an incredibly well-fortified position. Now, you might want to bring a Bandit or a Cade in this situation, because if you don't and Ace realizes what you've done, he's just gonna simply throw another one of his Selma gadgets onto your Mira, and while you may have slowed him down for a couple of seconds, it's not really going to stop him from getting through that reinforcements. But as soon as you do have that Bandit battery, things are going to be much more challenging for him. And so as long as you've done it properly, this actually could become a viable strategy. Now, is this going to be something that we see standard every single match? Probably not. After the first couple of weeks when the honeymoon phase is over and people have started to trickle back to the normal hard breachers, yeah, this could happen every so often, but when you go against a Habana or a Maverick and you're just sitting there with your Mira gadget out waiting for the Ace to throw his gadget, you're gonna look a little bit silly. But every so often, let's say at the beginning of a match, you notice in the cameras that they are running an Ace, or you just get lucky, this could be a really fun way at turning the tables against the offensive team. Now, moving on over to Melusi, her gadget is really interesting. Now, at its core, it's fairly simplistic. You place it down on the ground, and then anyone that walks on by is going to get slowed, and it's also going to generate a loud audible sound, letting anyone in the vicinity knowing that someone is trying to make their way past said gadget. It's going to be a fantastic way at taking people out that are pushing the objective. But you can also use this in really interesting and creative ways. This Banshee gadget has a very large area of effect, meaning that if you're working in tandem with someone who's using a shoddy and they don't mind helping you out, they can open up the floor where you assume there's going to be some foot traffic directly below. You can then place the Banshee on that opening, and now anyone that walks through that corridor below is going to be snared. The great thing about this is that it's going to be very difficult for offense to do anything about it. Unless they're playing as Ashe or Zofia, they're gonna have to pass through this hallway, be snared the entire time, and they're not gonna be able to run up and just simply melee it like they could in any other situation. Another great example of this is opening up the bottom part of a soft wall, then placing her gadget a little bit away from the opening, and now anyone that passes through that hallway is once again going to get snared. Just like before, this is going to be something that offense is going to have to work around. Either they need to crawl underneath the opening, which is going to leave them very vulnerable, or they're going to have to find another way to get into where you've placed it to be able to melee and take it out. And while clearly you're not going to be able to use this tactic on every single objective and map, hopefully this kind of gives you a glimpse into the potential of how you can use Melusi. I cannot wait to see the creativity and how people are going to be able to use the destruction and her gadget in tandem to come up with some really cool strategies. Now, I also went on in to test to see if Melusi stacks with any other slow effect in the game like barbed wire, and the answer is sort of not really. At the fringe of the Banshee, the slow effect is nowhere near as strong as if you were directly next to it. If you are 2 feet away, it is going to feel as if you are moving through barbed wire. Even if you place barbed wire directly on top of it, it didn't seem to have any noticeable impact on a player's movement speed. And so if you were assuming that you could use the Banshee in tandem with barbed wire and have a clash on your team, and all of it would stack and you would really just stop offense in your tracks, you're going to be disappointed. But that doesn't mean that barbed wire is going to be useless now. At that fringe, as I mentioned, your movement speed isn't as hindered, and so if you do place barbed wire at that end, they're gonna have to make their way through that and then get closer to the Banshee, which is gonna slow them down even further, and so that is going to be a viable tactic. Moving back on over to Ace, did you know that he can counter mutes? If they have a mute jammer on a reinforcement and for whatever reason you don't have a Thatcher or a Collie, not all hope is lost. You will need some coordination and some teamwork with your friendly sledge, but all you need to do is place that Selma gadget at the very top of the wall reinforcements, and because the mute jammer doesn't extend all the way up there, it'll make a small opening. Then have your other operator throw that nade on over, have it take out the mute jammer, and then proceed as normal. Now, I can't verify that this is going to work on every single map because I know that there are some walls that are taller and shorter, but I think by and large, this is going to be effective and a great way at getting around a mute jammer. The last thing I tested before we get into the Easter eggs, I wanted to see if Nook countered Melusi or the new motion sensor, and sadly, that's not the case. If you walk through the Banshee while her gadget is activated, you're not going to show up on cameras, which I guess is somewhat decent, but realistically, Melusi is going to make Nook's life much more difficult. Sadly, the same story is true for the sound alarm. Doesn't matter what you do, even if you have her gadget activated, it's still going to make that noise. And so while I understand that Nook needs counters, you can't have an operator that is just silent the entire time. Even if you have something to watch your back, all of a sudden if she popped out of nowhere, that would be frustrating. I get that there needs to be some counterplay, but to introduce two more things that directly counter her, that's a tough pill to swallow. She's not really the best operator. She's okay, she can be a lot of fun, but I definitely don't think that she's in a place where she really deserves to have two more added on to it. And so I'm really curious to see how things play out in the long run. Moving on over to the Easter eggs, there are a lot on the new house. Probably my favorite is the chibi collection of a bunch of the operators in the kids' playroom. There's actually 2 Ash chibis that are also scattered around the map. If you make your way on over into the office and into the larger pink bedroom, you can see them on display. If you make your way on over to the corner of the pink bedroom though, you'll notice something hopefully a bit familiar, and that is a doll version of the old house. I tried interacting with it and taking it out with an Ash charge to see what was on the inside, but to no avail. But I thought it was really cool that Ubisoft included this kind of as a bit of a respect and a nod to that classic map. You'll also notice, if you look around this room, that things should look very familiar if you played Rainbow Six's Magic back in the day. They overhauled Plane, they added in a bunch of colorful effects, they had unicorns and horses and these flowers scattered around all over the place for that event specifically, and they're now using that in this room. Now, the cynical person could say that Ubisoft is just being lazy, or at least efficient, because they weren't using these anywhere else, so why not use it here? But I think that this is them acknowledging that this event happened, and you'll recognize it if you were around back then. Another really cool Easter egg is that if you use your drone to go up the slide, which is a new addition on the treehouse, you'll notice a red balloon. Now, this could just be a random red balloon, but I have a suspicion that this is a direct Easter egg for the movie It. On top of that, if you make your way on over to the music room, you'll notice that the carpet has a very distinctive pattern, which according to my Twitch chat, because I didn't know this, it is a direct nod to the same carpet that is in the movie The Shining. And then finally, the last 2 Easter eggs that I could find is that if you make your way down below into the gym area, you'll notice that there is a bunch of Rainbow Six Siege themed gym equipment. And once again, back up into the kids' playroom, there is a console with a bunch of Ubisoft exclusive games like Assassin's Creed. But yeah, guys, that is what it for today's episode of Did You Know? I hope you enjoyed. I am really excited for this upcoming season. The 2 new operators are fairly simplistic at its core when it comes to their gadget, but once you understand how to use them properly and you dig a bit deeper, there's some nuance, and I think they're going to add in a lot more variety, which is hopefully going to spice things up. I don't know how it's really going to turn out in the long run, but I'm really curious and looking forward to seeing how people are going to use their gadgets creatively. Other than that, though, let me know if I missed anything, be it an Easter egg or a tactic or strategy that you've discovered with these 2 new operators. One of the great things about Rainbow Six Siege is that we're always constantly learning. It's what I love about this game, and so let me know if I passed something down below in the comments. But yeah, guys, until next time, have a good one and take it easy.